Hello everyone and welcome to NPL Miners Season 4 Week 1. So this week I get to play the person who replaced me last season, Adam, the Bee's Knees, also the commissioner of the UBC, the other league I'm in. We get to play him and his Houston Solrockets. So yeah, let's get right into it. I'm going to lead with Frostlass. It has a pretty good matchup against most of his team. The only thing I would really be too worried about would be a Scarf Diggersby going for like Stone Edge, but I have Donphan I can switch into for that. So yeah, let's go. As he leads with the Skarmory, and I'm just going to trick it a choice specs immediately. I think crippling this thing is much better than me having a choice specs. It also frees up my coverage moves, and I can just kind of go for whatever I want, which is very nice. I'm just going to go for Ice Beam to start out. Not really sure what he's going to want to go into immediately. He goes into Nihilego, and I'm just going to Hidden Power Ground it. I fully expected to die here, Nihilego, but he overpredicts, which is fine. I was just really worried about Nihilego in general, and it just had a very good matchup against my team, so I wanted to get some good damage on it with Hidden Power Ground, and I end up being able to do that as well as live, which is very nice. So in these first 3 turns I have crippled a Skarmory and severely weakened the biggest threat to my team. So Frostlass putting in a lot of work so far. As he's going to go into Electabuzz, as I'm just going to go for safe Hidden Power Ground. Doesn't do any damage at all, so I can tell this is definitely Eviolite. As I am just going to switch out into Celebi, and he is going to switch into Skarmory, and this is not a matchup that I want, so I'm gonna switch right back out into Donphan. I figured Donphan had the most potential here. I could just set up rocks while he was choice locked into something. As he actually goes into Diggersby, which is pretty perfect since this is my Diggersby kind of check. As he goes for U-turn and takes that Rocky Helmet damage. And I just go for knockoff, trying to get rid of a Diggersby choice scarf to make room for my Z Sun Volcanion to sweep late game, but it ends up taking out the Nihilego, which is very nice. As he is going to go back out into Skarmory after going into Mew. I wasn't really sure what the Mew wanted to do, if it was going to set up something, so if it did, I wanted to be able to roar it out. And you know, as you saw, he went to Skarmory, and it sends him back into Electabuzz. As I believe here, I'm going to try to set up rocks on the Electabuzz, and he's going to go back into Skarmory, and he is just going to defog those away. But him being locked into defog is going to give me a free switch into Zapdos. I could have also gone into Volcanion there, I suppose, but you know, Zapdos is better for keeping momentum, and Volcanion is something I'm kind of saving for late game, I guess. So, as here I am just going to be able to Volt Switch out on the Electabuzz and go into Donphan. And here I know he's going to predict me to set up rocks again, so I'm going to predict him to stay in and just go for Earthquake, and I'm going to kill it with a crit, which is very nice for me. I'm now up 6-4, and not much on my team has been really damaged, so things are looking pretty good. He goes into Diggersby, and you know, I'm just gonna stay in. Like I said, this is my Diggersby kind of check, so I just go for knockoff to try to get rid of the choice scarf again. I knew that Skarmory could come in there and get rid of the choice specs, but in the grand scheme of things, I just wasn't too worried about that if it happened. Skarmory doesn't really do too much to my team, and freeing it from the choice specs isn't gonna like change the tide of the battle or anything. So as he goes back out into Diggersby, and I go into Zapdos here. So here I have the Charty Berry, so I'm not too worried about Stone Edges. I can just get off some decent damage with Hidden Power Ice, really weaken this thing down. And he actually misses a Stone Edge, which is unfortunate because I believe even with Charty Berry I would still not be able to take 2. Huge Fire Diggersby, even with Scarf, is very powerful. And I also had a lot of speed investment, so I wasn't like max bulk or anything. And that speed investment was for this exact scenario. It was for if he wasn't Scarf, I would be able to outspeed and Thunder Wave him, so he could not like set up a substitute or something and block the Thunder Wave. I wanted to be sure I could outspeed him. And if he was Scarf, I knew he couldn't kill me, and I could just Thunder Wave him again and kind of make that Scarf pretty useless. And so Thunder Wave was easily my best play, no matter what his stat was there. As I'm just going to be able to Roost, and he's going to be killing himself with Flare Blitz Recoil. Here, I thought about Volt switching, thinking he'd switch into Mew, but my play right now is to just be safe. I have this game basically in lockdown, just considering the health of my team compared to his. So just trying to keep everything healthy and play safe. That's my main goal here. I go for Thunder Wave there again. That was another reason I brought Thunder Wave this week. It was because Synchronize was a way to paralyze. It was a way to status the Mew without getting Synchronized back. So that was very nice. Here I go into Volcanion, and I make a misplay here, sort of. I think my thoughts were right. I just probably shouldn't have. So here I go for Z Sunny Day. Even though I don't outspeed the Scarf Diggersby in the back, and I do outspeed everything else already, so there was really no point in me going for Z Sunny Day in that sense. But in my mind, since I lived one Earthquake, and Fire Blast in the Sun does the same as Z Fire Blast, there was no point in not setting up the Sun and getting the same amount of damage off. But I kind of forgot that I had a Registeel on my team, and that he may want to use a Z Earthquake to deal with that. So yeah, he has that, and I just kind of drop. Whereas if I had gone for Z Fire Blast and just gotten the damage off, I would be in a much better position here, and this Mew would be very weakened. But yeah, here I can just kind of go into Froslass freely, and I just go for Shadow Ball. Wasn't really too worried about Diggersby coming in, not just yet anyways. My team is still in pretty good health to be able to deal with it. So that Spadef drop is pretty unfortunate. It puts him in a bad position since Ice Beam now kills from there, and nothing on his team really wants to switch into Ice Beams, not 2 of them anyways. So he's just going to sack off his Blaziken here. And yeah, now he's going to go back out into Scarf Diggersby and kind of threaten me out with Stone Edge. But I kind of predict that he's not going to go for Stone Edge here. It's kind of an unnecessarily risky play that I make here. I predict him to go for Earthquake, so I'm going to go into Zapdos. Yeah. the idea was if he Stone Edged, I had the Charty Berry, but I couldn't live 2, so there was no real reason for me to do that. If he had gone for Stone Edge, it could have put me in a pretty bad position, I guess. The main reason I predicted Earthquake was because he would probably predict me to go into Donphan, which is already very weak and toxic, and if he had gone for Earthquake against Donphan, that would have killed it. So that was why I predicted that, but yeah, probably just a little unnecessarily risky, but it does work out as he does go for the Earthquake, and he's now locked into it. So I should have gone for Volt Switch here, knowing he wouldn't stay in because he's locked into Earthquake. But you know, my mindset was just make the safe plays. You know, kind of have this game in the bag if you just play it safe. And you know, that mindset was indeed correct, as I can just Volt Switch here and not really lose too much. Now I am just going to go into Frostlass. Now that he's not +1 and I've seen what his Z move is, I'm not too worried about him being able to do too much to Frostlass, as you can see here. Here I know he's going to go into Diggersby as like a last ditch kind of effort, so I'm just going to go for Ice Beam. And yeah, that's gonna kind of wrap up the game here. He's gonna go back into Skarmory, and I'm just gonna be able to freely switch into Zapdos here. Go for Volt Switch. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. There it is. And go into Frostlass and kill off the Mew. So Frostlass putting in a ton of work, both early game and late game. Yeah, just a great bring this week. Lopunny didn't have to hit the field. Celebi hit the field once and didn't do anything. Basically just 4 Mons, kind of keeping his team at bay, which is very nice. I'm very happy with how I played and prepped this week for the most part. So yeah, next week we'll be facing Fog. Very scary matchup for me. So we'll see what I can do there. See you then.